Hey guys, for the 85th time we are trying to start this video, I am Devon.
I'm Professor Meg.
And I'm apparently Alex.
And it always works when we just do our own names, because we can't figure out the joke.
Well, there's a right and a wrong way to be cutesy and funny about being each other, and we seem to keep doing it the wrong way.
We are unable to actually jokingly intro.
No, I've been killing it the whole time.
She has actually been killing it. But I think...
oh yeah, she's been ruining it every time.
Well, no, she's been a better you every time. Yeah. Anyways.
It's not hard.
Please, I've been giving you guys a pretty good setup.
This is the top 10, top 100. This is the top 100. This is the fourth video in the series. We've already done 100 through 71, and now we're doing 70 through 61.
And for all of you that are just starting with this episode,
weird.
Please go back. Please
Weird.
go back to the beginning.
Go back to the beginning.
There's so much more context.
Or wait for the top 20. Either of those
why don't you just actually
Don't
say,
wait for the top 20.
watch this,
Don't
and
leave.
then after this,
Don't go.
watch the other ones.
where you will then proceed to get all the inside jokes that are prevalent over here. But this video will be confusing as all get out.
Please don't go. But if you pause this to start at 100, we forgive you.
Yes, exactly.
Stay.
Don't leave.
Thank you.
Anyways, we're going to go ahead and start this off. This is the top 100. We're going to start with number 70. Again, timestamps down below.
I got this. 70 from me is Scythe.
That was quick.
Dang.
70 from me is Scythe. And I'm kind of surprised at how far down it's dropped. Because Scythe for me was a staple. I love area control. I really like a lot of Stonemaier Games titles. But you know what? I've just kind of gotten to the point where, honestly, Scythe is in this weird point.
Bless you.
I'm so glad we're in enough that that's staying.
That's absolutely staying.
People are going to see me go.
That's 100% a Devon thing right there. And since she's being me, I'm okay with that.
Right, you have to finish that sneeze with timestamp.
Yep. Timestamp. Thank you so much. I appreciate your loyalty to my content. Love
Scythe,
you, man.
continue.
I love you, man. So Scythe is probably the most recognizable title except for Wingspan from Stonemaier Games. I would say that it is, in terms of like the heavier side of Stonemaier Games titles, it is the most recognizable, and it's the one that kind of like catapulted Jamie and his company to where it is now, though the Wingspan 100% solidified and enriched that. But Scythe is such like an interesting, one of maybe the early hybrids of having Euro mechanics and also some Ameritrash combat area control. I really do like it, but I also feel that sometimes it's not actually rewarding to the player that does the best. Because to me, like, Scythe is about managing your resources and managing your moves. And what I love the most is actually being the one that is able to navigate to 6 objective stars first. But that's not the person that necessarily wins. It's actually the person with the most points after you calculate that, which someone else who has fewer objective stars could have managed. But to me, in terms of like what I do in games, is you and I are quite different. Meg, I think, is somewhere in between us. I really try to... she's on the other side. She's on the other side. Yeah, I was talking about in game strategy, but thanks for also making me feel already more dumb than I already do on a daily basis.
It was just weirdly dark.
Essentially what I'm saying is...
they'd have to have watched the last 4 videos to understand and appreciate that.
Well, pause, go back, and also I have good mental health. So from now on, for everybody that's now with us, I typically, in a lot of strategy games, try to take the fastest, most efficient road to get to a completion point, or an objective point. And in Scythe, I'm not always rewarded for that, because someone who maybe has fewer objective stars maybe has more land, or maybe they have more certain things. And so it's not necessarily a fault of Scythe, it's a fault of how I typically play games, that Scythe doesn't reward that. I will say the caveat for Scythe is this.
Go ahead, hit me with the caveat.
The caveat for Scythe is this. I have not played through the Rise of Fenris campaign, and I have heard from a lot of people who do legacy campaigns that the Rise of Fenris campaign is one of their absolute favorites. And so I have it, and my wife and I have not played through it together yet. But I hear, to me, that could potentially change my mind. But Scythe has been a phenomenal game that has dropped down.
Have you played Scythe?
Yeah, I've played it a bit. I own it. I'm not crazy about it, but that being said, I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's, very fun every time I play. I really enjoy the player boards and that puzzle of it. That being said, it's not one I would ask to play.
Yeah, for me, Scythe is one that I tried it multiple times. I really wanted to love it because it's a genre that I should like, but it's one that I've always enjoyed, but it never captured my imagination.
I would say it's actually faux area control.
That's, I think, part of the problem. It's a game with
You
mechs and
really like
combat.
area control, but it's actually not as much focused on that,
Yeah.
even though it seems on the surface to be.
It's about this resource engine, and you're like, I'm going to build up this army of things I will never use, and it's just, and they
Pretty
talk
much.
about that. They talk
Yeah.
about the idea. It's the threat of combat. It's the intimidation. It's the factor. Like, they do talk about it and address it, but for me, it has made it a game that I always appreciate, but never love.
What's your 70?
My 70 is one that it's one that I don't even know where it was last year. I wonder if it's higher or lower, but it's one that it was really high when it first arrived, and then due to accessibility issues and just the ability to pull it out in table without having to try to remember and sort and all these things, it is one that went lower for me, and it is Kingdom Rush. Kingdom Rush from Lucky Duck Games. I loved Kingdom Rush when it first showed up, and it's over to the left over here, bottom maybe, left bottom, down there.
It is left
Yes.
bottom. Wow.
So,
it's like you live here.
it's weird. It's almost like I organized these shelves myself. But Kingdom Rush is one that I'm very much looking forward to the fact, and I've been saying this, I think I said this last year too, I'm looking forward to their newest Kickstarter or GameFound campaign that they have the insert that's going to make it easier to set up in table. I'm hoping that helps a lot because that was my biggest frustration with it. The way it all kind of fit into the box was not the easiest, but the gameplay it gave you out of it was a tower defense polyomino system.
The organization makes it hard to play.
It makes
Or
it not
table.
easy to sit down and pull things out on table. Not the worst, but definitely not the worst, but
Yeah, but
also
it's
not
a
the
big
easiest.
box.
It's a big box. There's a lot of stuff going on. Then if you add expansion content, it's good. I really like it. I've gone through a decent amount of the campaign, but it's one that I kind of have then mentally put off to the side. And it's like, I'll wait till the insert comes before I continue to heavily dive into it. The problem is I've been waiting a while now, and I want to get back to playing it. But it's tower defense with polyomino pieces. You're building towers across multiple rounds while you move your little heroes around the board to stomp with the little cute little polyominoes. You're placing down polyominoes on the enemies, and you're trying to piece out how you can make these tiles kind of attack from your towers onto these grids of enemies that are moving towards you, and you have to stay on your toes the entire time. It looks cutesy, but it is a mean, tight challenge. You have to constantly be upgrading your towers, constantly being on top of the waves of incoming invaders. Lots of fun. The campaign does evolve nicely and gives you some really interesting, challenging scenarios, some degree of pick up and deliver and missions and all these like guide missions or whatever it is. Overall, really enjoy Kingdom Rush.
I mean, I honestly think that's a good description of tower defense games in general.
Yeah.
Because most of like the mobile games or the like browser-based games that are tower defense are very cutesy.
Yeah.
But it's a mean genre. It's a mean genre.
It
It's
works.
also how I describe myself.
A mean genre.
Cutesy but mean.
Cutesy but
Cutesy but
mean.
mean.
Oh, cutesy but mean. Cutesy but mean. You guys
You focus
got
on
it.
the one thing. You focus on one aspect.
That didn't make sense. It sounds like me.
Anyways,
Goes back to that dark comment earlier.
My number 70, I don't know if you played this, Devon, but Alex, I actually got to teach this to you and show you this game. I think that this bracket for me, guys, just a disclaimer, but this is a bracket of a lot of games I don't own. No, not at all. Not at all. Cat in the Box.
Ooh, Cat in the Box.
Cat in the Box is a
Is that
trick-taking
relatively
game.
new?
Yes.
It's relatively new.
I would say around this year, maybe last year. I want to say I saw it at PAX Unplugged last
Okay.
year. But Cat in a Box is a game that's coming from my brand. It's a cat in a box, and they know that I sit in boxes, so I think they've tried to take that from me.
How dare they?
But it's a trick-taking game where instead of having the typical colors like you usually do, you have all black cards, and you get to decide what color those cards are. On top of that, you score differently for the amount of tricks that you anticipate you'll take, and then depending on what you actually take, you can score higher for that, as well as how many are connected throughout the number grid. And I just absolutely love it. I love trick-taking games. I'm very good at them, I think. I think I kind of wiped the floor with you and Tim. It was really fun. I think it's a really charming game, and I think it's really unique for trick-taking to have it be colorless, and that you get to take the numbers of the cards and decide what color they're going to be.
That's cool.
So basically,
I love
Devon,
trick-taking games.
Basically,
It's
you
amazing.
have a card, and it has the 4 colors. So it's blue, red, green, and
Yellow.
And as you're going to play, say you're going to play a 6, you decide what color you want it to be. So you say, I want to play a yellow 6, but it's just a black card that says 6. And if you want it to be red, it can. Red is the trump color, but it could be blue or green. And it's the classic trump rules where you need to break it during a round, and then you can't play that color anymore.
But now that 6 is out of play, you mark that yellow 6 is gone. Mm-hmm. And so it's you're creating
I like
the board
that.
as you
That's
go.
cool.
Yes.
And at any point, you could say, I don't have yellow anymore. I guess I have to play the trump suit. But now you can't play yellow for the rest of the game because you've created reality as you play.
I think we should play it right after this, honestly.
After this.
Yeah.
I will
It's
say,
very
I know that
charming.
you were saying that you felt threatened because they were taking your genre. This may be presumptuous of me, but
No one can
are
fit in a
we
box
not
like I do.
certain that cats and boxes both
Were before Meg?
predate you?
Are you saying
Cats
that I'm
in
a
game
box
boxes?
or a cat?
You think board games are
Board game
younger
boxes?
than Meg?
Cats and board game boxes. I don't know how common that is.
Yeah, but
You think
social
they
media
finish
has
chess?
maybe showed those more often. But I'm pretty sure cats and board game boxes is probably predating Meg.
Let us know in the comments below what you think.
Now, guys, Meg is an eternal. She's an immortal, and she's 4,000 years old.
I'm so
but I'm
tired.
assuming that both. I'm so tired. What's your 69, Meg?
I like that I get to go first. My number
That's a weird
69
way to
is
put it.
Mice and Mystics. Mice and Mystics is a title by Plaid Hat Games. It is a dungeon crawling game, but instead you're playing as these adorable mice, and they're fighting against things like centipedes and spiders and giant rats. And it's also a progressive story where you're playing through different story arcs. It is something that is an old school game that I picked up, I want to say in maybe 2017, and I got it because of Will Wheaton's tabletop. He played through it with his family. He really enjoyed it with his family, and I played it with my husband.
Yeah.
I think that Mice and Mystics is one of those games that has come out quite a long time ago in terms of like current zeitgeist in the industry. But I feel like everybody I've talked to that has played it feels very, very warmly about it.
It's
like,
so charming. It's so charming, and I think the mechanics still work really well. You have individual characters, they got items, and they have different abilities. They're very well balanced, and I think true to the genre that you have like a mage, you have a warrior, you have healers, and it's just so cute. It's very cute.
Have you played all the way through it?
No, I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, that's one that kind of passed me by. I remember when it came out, that was like one of like we did a video at one point, like 10 games that used to be a big deal.
Yes.
And like I think the crossover we had was
Yes.
Mice and Mystics.
Yes.
Because like it was such a huge deal when it came out. You
Yeah.
couldn't get your hands on it.
Yeah.
Everyone was saying about it, and now it's still popular. But it's like popular. Like it's kind of receded into the background. It's like it's a game people talk about. Lots of people have positive things to say. Some are like, oh, but it's good at the time, but things have evolved past it. But it's a game that I never actually got to the table. I went to.
Is
but-
Mice and Mystics in the same like design
Open book
phase
library
as
as-
like Mystic Fables or Stuff Fables?
Stuff Fables, yes.
Stuff
Yes.
Fables?
Yes, but it's a little
And the
more.
same publisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I would say Stuff Fables
Is that Plaid Hat?
Yep.
Plaid Hat.
Stuff Fables, I would say, is what was born from
Have you played Stuff
Mice and
Fables?
Mystics. I have it. I've been painting it. I wanted to paint it first before we play. They're
No,
so
you
cute.
did mini.
Oh, they're so cute.
How did I
I'll
not
send
know
you
you do
pictures.
mini
They look
painting?
pretty good. And then I think after that they came out with Familiar Tales.
Yeah.
That's kind of the
that's
newest
the
one.
newest one.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
My 69 should have followed your 70 because I like doing these back-to-back things, but my 69 is The Crew. A trick-taking game, which would have followed beautifully after the Count of the Box.
Are
The
you
Crew.
saying that I messed that up?
Yeah, you screwed
Probably.
it up. Terribly so.
You're doing great.
do that all
Anyways,
the
The
time.
Crew. The Crew is a delightful trick-taking game, and it's the trick-taking game
Is this
to
Mission
me.
Deep Sea or Quest for Planet 9?
So I'm grouping them together. I would say I prefer Mission Deep Sea slightly over.
what does
over.
it add differently? Because I have both of them. I just
So
haven't played the new one.
The short version is, well, let's explain the game. We'll come to it shortly from there. But
No,
the crew,
no. Forget
the
them.
crew is a
Forget them and
cooperative
talk to me.
trick-taking
Talk to me.
experience. It's a cooperative trick-taking experience in which what you're doing is you are trying to work together to accomplish certain goals and objectives. So as you play these tricks, you're like, okay, great, we have to try to figure out how I'm going to win the the yellow 6 and you're going to win the red 9. But how are you going to win the red 9 if you don't even have the red? Like you have to ensure that you are out of the cards at the right time and the color trumps, and you're playing all these games and trying to figure out how to work together to ensure that certain players win their respective tricks. And it gives you that trick-taking feel and trick-taking puzzle, but it does so without it being competitive, and for me it's the first time I ever liked trick-taking.
Because you typically, previous to recent years, you haven't liked the genre,
For a long
right?
time I did not like the genre. I tried it again and again and again, and The Crew was the one exception, and I attributed
Ghosts
it
of
to being...
Christmas.
Well, I attributed it at first
But
to being
now Cat in the
cooperative. A whole lot now. Whole lot. Cat in the Box is up there. But for me, I attributed it for a while to the fact that The Crew was cooperative, until eventually I played Ghost of Christmas, and I was like, apparently I can like trick-taking games that aren't just cooperative. And then from there, we now have a few. We have Cat in the Box, we have Ghost of Christmas, we have The Crew. I want to say there's one more that's
Do you like Banner Festival?
Banner Festival I'm only okay on. I think that my problem with Banner Festival is that Banner Festival is too ambient in the sense that it gives you no matter what you do in Banner Festival, you can automatically get something. And I find that aspect that you can get almost anything anytime is a little too vague. And so I like a little bit more focus. I do like trick-taking games that give you a degree of reward for losing at times, but Banner Festival is like win high, low, middle, whatever you get something. And that might cater to certain players. I think it does cater to certain players, but it doesn't feel like trick-taking
Bad players.
Certain players who don't want that aspect.
Certain.
Anyways, going back to the crew.
Certain
As far
players.
as Deep Sea versus Quest for Planet 9, Quest for Planet 9 gave you specific cards that you're going for. I'm going for a red 6. I'm going for a blue 5. Planet 9 gave you... Mission Deep Sea made it more interesting in terms of the types of goals you're going for. So it's the same system. You might still have a red 6, but you might also have, win a trick with a blue 3. As opposed to, it gave you mission cards.
That's kind of what I felt like was missing in Planet 9. So that's interesting.
It's the exact same system, but instead of having one specific type of goal, it's like, why don't we just make it more interesting and give you different types of goals?
Because Quest for Planet 9 is on Board Game Arena. I also have the physical copy. I love both. I love playing both. I love playing digitally. I like playing physically. But also, even though there were different types of goals, you were like, I want this card. Or I want this card first and then this card second. It was very much still, I want to win this card. And it was a very binary goal function. And that, to me, actually creates a little bit more variety.
I kept both. I stored them in the same box. I just took the other cards, put them in the same box. But it's a fantastic game. If you don't like trick-taking, I think it's worth taking a look at. You might still not like trick-taking, but for me, it's the one that converted me.
I really enjoy it. It's
Yeah.
very, very fun. And very affordable.
Yes. 69.
69 for me is one that I'm a little upset is this low, but I didn't do any manual massaging.
Okay.
And it's Parks.
Ooh.
I love Parks. Parks is gorgeous, and I actually I did an interview on my channel with Henry Audubon and also Chris Kingsnorth from Paperfork Games on his newest game,
Cosmo Octonauts.
Cosmo
Octonauts.
Sorry, it's been a
a
long
kid's show.
day and / weekend. Cosmoctopus, and in it, I was actually intrigued because he said that Parks was a unique game because the artwork actually predated the design.
Interesting.
All of that
Oh,
art,
that makes sense, I guess. With
the 59 National Parks art collection predated the design of the game. So he had to do the design of the game and marry it to the art that existed.
Fun.
And I think that the art in Parks
Did a good job.
I wonder how often that happens.
Just transformational. I think I think Parks is one of the iconic games of the last 10 years.
Yes.
If you include the fact that it is one of the best examples of game trays organization, it's one of the best examples of art, really pushing forward the presentation of a game, and it's also very deceptive as a game. It looks very cutesy. And it can be very mean.
But it could be cute too. It's one of the things I love about
can be. It can be.
It could be light and simple and engaging as you wander along the path.
It can also be vicious.
Oh, it can be vicious. I love
It
that
can be vicious.
too. I love the fact
I
that it
really love Parks. And so I'm a little offended at myself that somehow through my pub meeple sorting that it's this low. But I think that Parks is a truly seminal game in the last 5 years or 6 years or something. I love it to death, but it's my 69.
Yeah. No spoilers, but I am disappointed it's this low for you.
I know. I know it's a crossover at some point, because Alex and I share an ardent love of this game.
Mm-hmm. And we have brought up solo mode a few times, particularly you, Devin, and that's one that I learned the solo mode.
Oh, really?
I've never played this solo.
charming.
Is it good?
I think it's challenging. I had a fun time playing it. I want to say I played it quite a few times. I like to learn solo modes, and then I kind of move on. But I think with that one, I played it maybe 3 or 4 times before moving to something else.
Now I will say this. There are other ways to enjoy that world, and it is Memories, the memory game, and it is Trails, Parks.
So I do think
I do not. I got rid of Trails pretty quickly.
Trails
I got rid
for
of
me-
Memories pretty quickly. It's Parks. Parks is my bae.
For me, the only reason I keep Trails and I enjoy it is for the accessibility to throw it in my bag. I'm a female, I have a purse, and it's something that it fits a bit better in my bag as opposed to Parks, but that's the only reason.
Yeah. I do think Trails is good, for the record. I just don't think it compares to Parks.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy Trails.
Yeah.
I was like, this is actually pretty
If
fun.
if Trails existed as something that wasn't connected to Parks, I'd be like, oh yeah.
So let's cut though, but
because
it has a
it's
nice
connected to
degree
Parks,
of
I'm like, I would just want Parks.
What's your 68?
What's my 68?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not even ready for that.
All right, my 68.
I'm just kidding. My 68 is Oros.
A prototype that's not available. I'm not offended. You can
Oh yeah, you're right. I have other ones that do fit into that category. I didn't actually think about this because Lucky Duck, like at all of their like the last 2 conventions they've had like
Lucky Duck's doing Oros?
they are doing the retail distribution.
I did not realize it. Good for them.
And I'm so happy because Oros is a game that it did well for its first time for like Brant Brinkerhoff doing it all on his own with Ace Games. Like he did over 300K, which did really well. But I was like, I really want this to see more visibility in the hobby.
I tried helping to connect them to some people.
Yeah, and I was like, I really want Oros to go places because truly it is. There are a lot of games, as content creators, there are a lot of games that come across our tables that I'm like, oh, I like this, and I think of this when I play this, and I think of this when I play this. And it's like new designs, but they, to me, feel like different iterations or innovations on something that I've already seen. Oros is one of the few games that I was like, this literally does something I've never seen before. And so the fact that like Lucky Duck is doing retail distribution for it and that more people are going to see Oros, I'm so excited by. It is what I don't know if Brant coined it or if I said it in my review, but it was like tile colliding or tile shifting. And it is a really, really, really clever geographical like tile mashup visual experience. It's such a cool. Have you played it at all? It's really cool.
You basically have these tiles on this island that you're using your powers that you can upgrade and augment over the course of the game to mash these tiles together to slowly form volcanoes where you'll then build temples on. But as a degree of traveling around, as a degree of movement, as a degree of colliding things, you're constantly trying to figure out how to optimize around creating these volcanoes, creating these mountains, and building your temples and ascending across the mountain.
Yeah.
But the way it does so is
like you can have tiles that go in circles around different layers, or you can have tiles that go from this side of the board and go off the map and then hit this side of the board.
Fun.
And they can like you have to be moving not on ocean spots but on island spots, and they have to be connected to the land that you're moving on, and then you can choose which different layers you upgrade, like the up powers and abilities or whatever that Alex is really excited about all the time. It's such a unique game. I really don't know of any game that's even close to it.
it's definitely very unique.
So it's my 68.
My 68 is one that you and I have been playing a lot of together. And I was,
Gloomhaven.
speaking of games that I was surprised is this low,
Devon, get out of here.
Role Player Adventures is my 68.
Oh.
Alex, get out of here.
And I was
Are
a bit
you upset
surprised.
that it's so low?
Yes. Are you kidding? Are you kidding?
Are we going to have crossovers later?
What number is it? 68?
68. I was a bit surprised that this one was this low.
A bit surprised?
They're good games. I have lots of good games at this point. There are lots of good games. Roleplay Adventures is one that I've... She's so offended. Roleplay Adventures is a delightful game from Thunderworks Games that it
Choose
gives
your own
you
adventure.
choose your own adventure combined with a degree of dice manipulation in it. I really like what Roleplay Adventures is doing. I really like the way it invests me into the story. I really like the way it invests me into the choices, the agency, the puzzly adventure of what's going on with it. It's not a perfect game. I do have complaints around it, which is why like when I was trying to think, it gets harder and harder to move things around the list at this point because it gets harder and harder. And I like Roleplay Adventures a lot, but also the more we play it, we've also found that it's getting to a point where I feel less and less the dice challenges are actually ever really a challenge. We're figuring our way through it. You can rest, you can do whatever, and that's something they address in the expansion.
Amazing.
Or we're just amazing, or that too. And then it feels like the times you don't win is because you just got unlucky. So it does have this interesting aspect where when you win, it can get to a point where it doesn't feel as accomplishing, but when you lose, it just feels unlucky. So it's a weird balance where it just feels like, okay, it is what it is. But that happens more later on, and the more you play it. I think it's incredible. I think it's very solid. I think the Choose Your Own Adventure is amazing. I think the replayability is insane. I think the fact that you can walk into an adventure and have drastically, completely different outcomes. We're streaming it on Twitch, and we have people who in the chat who've played it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I've never seen that before." For scenarios that they've encountered, and like you have complete story paths cut off as you play. It is genuinely a game that I think you could play through it, and you might hit 30% of the content you saw the first time. There's so many branching paths of what you can do and how you can do it, and how the world opens up and explores and continues across the 10 plus finale plus side quests and all that. It's really well done.
around
And
12 for
that's
the
why
base
it's in Alex's top 10 of all time.
It makes sense.
That's why it's my 68.
Number 9.
68?
Yeah. Hey, you want to talk about parks?
I think
I'm
the 6
offended.
is a typo and it's your number 8.
It's
right?
my number 8. Yeah, the 6. It was 6, 7, and 8. 6,
Oh.
2, 8. That's how
It was
That makes
3
sense.
different
Yeah,
slots
3
in your
different
top
slots,
10.
uh-huh.
Because it's role player and then role player adventures.
Yeah,
and cartography, maybe?
Yeah, no.
What's
Yeah,
your
yeah.
68
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we can be
Actually, no offense.
offended?
Well, the one thing I will say about role player adventures that is a knock against it, I'm a big fan of it, but one thing that's been brought up during our stream, which I don't think I would have picked up on until we were streaming, is that it's not very colorblind accessible. A lot of the dice rolls are depending on what color die you roll, and especially for the skill checks and the monsters, seeing what's outlined in what color. I obviously don't have a problem, well, not obviously, but I don't have a color blindness issue, so I don't have a problem with that, but I can see that being really tough, that I wish there was a workaround around that part.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
What's your 68?
My 68, I feel like I keep doing this with multiple publishers in the same bracket as well, but it's another Plaid Hat Games title. It is Ashes.
Ashes
Rise of the Phoenixborn.
Reborn?
Yes. So not Reborn, but
Okay.
the original. So I actually haven't gotten to play Reborn, and I don't disagree that there are definitely a lot of balancing issues. For me, that's why it does rank so low, that I still have the base game. I played it, I want to say in like 2014, and I played it a ton till like 2017. And I haven't played it a ton since then, which is why it's ranked a bit lower for me, but I loved it. It was one where I really enjoyed it, and it got to the point where no one else really enjoyed playing it with me, so that's kind of why it dropped off. But I think it's a really fun deck building, 1v1 game.
Nice.
It's really well
Ashes-
done.
I don't know anything about it.
I read the rules once upon a time to play it, and I never
Once
did.
upon a time.
Never did. I never
You
got to
read
the table.
so many rules that could be 8 years ago.
It's one of those games that I got hoping to table, because I was a big MTG player way back in the day, and so
Yeah.
that I was
Yeah.
always looking
Really?
way back in the day. Yeah, you don't know this one?
Way
You've
back in
never
the day.
talked about this, with me at least.
Really?
Yeah.
He's
It's weird.
never talked about Magic the Gathering with me.
Yeah,
I
was,
believe that was your first business before Board Game Cup?
Yeah, it was. I ran a business selling Magic the Gathering cards online for 3 years. Yeah.
I love the fact that when I find out we're not friends, I love that. I love that. It makes me so happy.
But yeah, so I ran MTG for a while. I got heavily into it. I never played it. Not never. I played it competitively like once, but like I wasn't into it competitively in that sense. I just played it a lot. I would go to the shops, draft. I'd play with my siblings. Got heavily into it, and so for a long time I was seeking out MTG-like experiences in board games that wouldn't give me the MTG cost and just obsession in there. And I never found something completely equitable. I found some things that are the close things, like Radlands, I think really does deliver that nicely. Things like
Soulforge.
Marvel Champions. Soulforge is interesting, although we've talked about the card
Yeah,
quality already,
yeah.
watched previous videos.
Yeah.
But Marvel Champions I think is amazing in the sense that it's a very different experience than MTG, but the point is, for a while I was seeking different experiences, and Ash is one of them.
Yeah.
I just got it, I read the rules, and just never managed to table it, and then like years later eventually I gave up and moved on from it.
It's
But-
one of those games where there's a bunch of different heroes, so you have unique decks where they do different things. One of my favorite ones was one that had a lot of conjurations, and then there was a different one that I really loved that would play with her health, where it was a blood magic type voodoo queen. And yeah, it's really fun. I think that it's one of those things where you have to find what you drive well with certain play styles. It's similar to Magic, where if you play certain things well. But I really enjoyed it.
And that was Plaid Hat's attempt to dive into the LCG formula without using the term LCG.
And also, just to touch on what you guys said with Rise of the Phoenixborn, they did remake the game. So they there were a lot of issues with the structure of some of the rules, that they kind of revamped it with what they learned, and they've re-released it. I have not been able to play that version, but I would suggest picking that up instead. I believe it does fix a lot of the issues, but I haven't been able to play it.
Well, to do something crazy
Uh-oh. After
Let's be
this?
crazy.
and to bring in a third Plaid Hat game title
Dun dun dun!
in the
Dun, dun,
same
dun, dun, dun.
video, and also just to quickly give
Is it Dead of
my
Winter?
67,
Is it Dead of Winter?
to give my 67 before I do an unprecedented top 100 break the seal and leave for a little bit, which most people are probably gonna be okay with,
It's Dead of Winter.
is Dead of Winter a Crossroads game?
What do you mean top one? You're about to have a full crossover in video, aren't you?
Huh? No, I said break the seal. I'm gonna go to the bathroom after I say this. So
cut?
I'm gonna
We
talk.
can't have
A little
a cut.
pause?
No, it's not gonna be a cut. I'm just gonna physically leave while you guys talk, and
We
they're
can
gonna be
take a
like,
pause.
"Dear goodness, Devon hasn't interrupted in the last 5 minutes. This is amazing."
We should do that.
Okay, yeah, sure.
What?
Go.
Yeah, no. So 67, a Dead of Winter Crossroads game. This is one
I
of
thought
the
it was like a
titles.
crossover, like mid-video. I thought it was like, we're finally having our first mid-video crossover. I was
No,
excited.
no.
I thought he
Dead
said
of Winter
crossover and
Crossroads
meant
game.
Crossroads, yeah.
Yeah, Dead of
Yeah.
Winter Crossroads game is. I have this game in my collection. I have had this game in my collection for the last like 7 or 8 years. It's been a long-standing one. I have yet to get rid of it, and I am loath to get rid of it because it is so much the game that I want to be perfect, and it is the game that there are so many elements of Dead of Winter that I adore. The Crossroads deck is amazing. It creates an event deck for every player, every turn, that creates a unique narrative for the game. It's really actually comfortable on your fingers. It's got a comfort band on the inside.
Go ahead.
And the issue with Dead of Winter that I have is that I've actually never even utilized the exile colony or exile board because we've always gotten to the point where the betrayer that exists doesn't ever have to be overt because it's a hard enough game on its own. We'll get 2 hours or an hour and 45 minutes or 2.5 hours into a game of Dead of Winter, and then the person's like, oh, we've naturally dwindled down to 1 or 2 morale, I'm gonna kill my character and we lose.
Yeah.
And it's one of those games that like it's in the same space as like Battlestar Galactica, the board game, which I've recently played, where it has a betrayer that is unknown or multiple betrayers that are unknown, but it's such a difficult game to begin with that the necessity of the bad people to actually be overt versus just suboptimal and not helpful is so like a tight balance walk.
Which is very thematic though for what could happen.
It is thematic, but like
post-apocalyptic
for
world.
games that have betrayers in it or traitors in it, like if you're playing something like Resistance, which we've talked about recently, if you're playing that game and it takes 40 minutes, it's one thing if you're like, we got undone by this traitor. If you play a game for 2.5 hours and you're like, we are so close to victory, and someone just passively goes, hey, you know that gas that we have to make it? I'm just going to not give it to us. And then after like 2.5 hours of like painstakingly going through that, the like emotional frustration, which is a word. It's when crustaceans, like little crabs, get really frustrated. And when you get... which is the noise that crabs make, apparently.
In the Dead of Winter.
So, I love Dead of Winter, but it's just... It got to a point where I became so fatigued with, like, the emotional response to it that I was like, I love this game, but it just doesn't do enough for me. I almost wanted it to be just a survival game and not a potential betrayer game.
You could do that at lower player counts?
Yeah, it's hard enough. Like, at lower player counts, it is just that. But it's such a... I love that game. I love so many things about that game.
Have you played Shadows over Camelot?
I do not like that game.
Have you played it?
I have.
I think they're comparable. I think they're the exact same.
I think Dead of Winter is so much better.
Play this, not that?
I'm happy to do that for the 3 people that still play both of those games.
We'll do it.
It has been a long time since I've played either, but Shadows over Camelot left my collection very quickly. Dead of Winter has stayed because I don't want to let it go.
And you
I don't want to let
haven't
it
tried
go.
Warring Colonies, right? I haven't either.
I have not, because with Warring Colonies, it's a much bigger player count game.
Yeah, you need a lot of people.
And
I'm
it's
really
just
interested
like-
to try it, but I haven't been able to.
I had Warring Colonies for a bit, and then I broke it out, and I was like, we're going to play it. And then I started reading the rules, I was like,
We're not going to play
I need Long Night. I was
Yeah.
like, I need Long Night and the base game, and I didn't have that. And I was like, we're going to play it. And I was like, you can't play Warring Colonies with 1 copy of base Dead of Winter.
Right.
And I love the game to death. It's down to 67 in my collection, and I wish so much for that game, and I worry that I'm soon going to get rid of it.
Cool. Well, now you can go ahead and go.
I'm going to go break the seal. Everybody
It's all
enjoy
good.
the next certain amount of minutes without me.
Do you think he talks too loud on camera?
You know, I want to say, I peeped your list a tiny bit.
that
And there's a spoiler alert for something coming. I don't know if it's the next one coming. Is that why you want to wait? Do you want me to go first?
No, we can wait. We can
Well, I can... Well,
No, I've been holding. You've been peeping at my list?
It was an accident.
It was an accident. Okay, well, I have my list over here for the record.
Actually, there's another crossover that's
Okay,
going to happen
you
too.
like how I teased the fact that I teased that to him?
Did you?
I teased it. I said, like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the first, do you not know what's going on?
No, I do. I just
Okay.
didn't hear you say it.
I was like, I thought you were going to say the first mid-campaign crossover. For the record, this is about to be our first, Parks is about to be our first crossover.
Is it your number 67?
67.
Do you want me to do my number 67?
No, I'll do it right after he comes back.
You don't want me to do mine?
No, I think it'd be fun, like, as soon as he sits down, I'm going to be like, just straight into it.
Devin took a break and now I'm hungry.
Oh, that's a shame. Do you want to go get food?
No, I'll wait.
Why not?
I'll wait till we're done.
This video could take another hour.
I hope not.
Fine,
We're
I'll
already
try.
at 67. You don't
granted.
want me to do my 67?
Is there a reason you want to do 67 first?
Just to like fill the air.
Oh, I kind of want to go straight from him just settling so he can't even catch his breath, and then immediately into like throwing him off his game.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think it'll be fun because I think I'll be like, and now that we've done that annoying interruption to the video, I'll immediately jump straight into like, oh, and now I have our first or whatever, like time to break the seal.
I can't wait to do that to
I'm
you.
gonna mess with, I'm gonna mess with him because I'm also gonna be like in its rightful place where it belongs, not this garbage 69, but it's 67. Yeah, I'm gonna mess
Slightly
with him.
above.
Yeah, slightly above. Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. Shout out to Game Trays.
You know what the offensive part right now is? I just heard that he just left the bathroom and he's walking around upstairs.
He's just walking around.
Like, what the hell, man?
He doesn't care about you guys at all.
What the hell? Like, seriously. I'm fine with the bathroom break.
This would be a great time to let you guys know to give this video a like if you were enjoying our top 10 series. We will be doing, obviously, what we're going to go up to 61. So we will be doing 60 all the way to number 1 after this. So if you're enjoying this series, be sure to subscribe to Board Game Coast so that you never
helps.
miss a future video. You can even hit that bell to be notified every time a video goes live.
Yeah, it's a thing. I don't use it
do
all
that
the time.
now. Take the time.
But like you get those little
Do something
notifications.
special
It pops
for
up.
us.
It's a little more. It
Yeah.
tells YouTube more that you actually want to see the content. And the answer might be, I don't. Maybe the answer is like, I'm fine with being in my sub feed. I don't need more than that.
Yeah.
I get that. I put up 20 videos a week. A lot of videos. Well, not 20, like 15 videos a week. There's a lot of reviews, a lot of top 10s,
Maybe
a lot
don't
of
hit the
Kickstarter
bell
content.
notification.
The bell would be a lot. I do try to keep it
Subscribe.
to no more than 3 a day, just to like
Yeah.
really not overwhelm you. But
That's a
honestly,
lot.
if you're watching, well, it's like some days
No,
are
but
one.
you're doing- you
Some
do
days are one.
great.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Killing
But like,
it.
I don't want to like completely overwhelm people. Anyone who actually watches all my videos,
love
major
you.
kudos to you.
Yeah, we love you.
Major. Like, I can't imagine. I have to watch all my videos because I have to like film them, then timestamp them, then edit them, and do all that stuff. So I watch all my videos multiple times. But like, I mean, it's me. I'm invested. Like, if you're that
it's me.
invested, well, I mean, not. I mean, it's me. It's like I'm invested in the putting out the actual content. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to the Dice Town, by the way. I don't even know how they do it. I have no clue how they manage to keep up.
Go give them a subscribe.
Yeah, you should do that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then while we're on the subject, of course, I'll have links down below to Devon Talks Tabletop and Professor Meg. You should check those channels out as well.
And Camp Co-op, where
And
we
Camp
play
Co-op.
Role Player Adventures, number 68
68.
on this
I was a little
top
sad.
100.
I was sad about that.
We're
So-
gonna have words later.
Oh. So, for
I
context.
thought you had a better experience.
It's a great experience. I think that my issue with Role
You
Play
like
Adventures.
parks more than Role
Well,
Player Adventures?
I do. Role Play Adventures
That
is
hurts.
amazing. It is amazing.
I love this. I get so attached, though. I get very much attached to the feeling of the
I think the
story.
problem is, I think the difference between you and I, and this is where it is different, is we have other campaign experiences that we're playing through that will rank higher. But I think that's because
But it's not because of the story.
Exactly. But
Which is
ultimately,
interesting.
you are more of a story person. So the fact that Role Play Adventures is this high is a testament to the fact that a story game could even drive me to this point.
Yeah.
I'm not a story person. You've seen you and me playing Gloomhaven. I'm like, next. You're like, I want to know what happens.
If you guys are a camper, leave a tent emoji in the comments below, and we will know who you are. Even
he's
though I
back.
know who you guys are, it's going to be Surubme and Successful Geek and Petrified, which is also Uracha.
I'm glad you took a break to go to the bathroom and grab some food, Devon. We commented on that as soon as you left the bathroom. I heard him walking around. Come on over.
We've just riffed the whole time. You know what you should do is put that in like 2 times speed and have people listen to us being like.
Anyways, moving on to my 67. Now that Devon has done the first
Alex
thing.
made us wait, Devin.
Yeah.
He made us literally wait.
Are you serious?
I wanted to do mine.
I
and
wouldn't have left.
He wouldn't let me do mine.
Why?
Oh, you want to do yours while he was gone?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't understand that.
That was the whole purpose of
They
me
all
leaving.
understood
I
that.
didn't understand that. I totally didn't get that. Anyways.
Did you get what I meant? I thought you guys were going to keep going.
No,
I'm
that
just
would be
here for
rude.
the ride.
That'd be rude. Almost like going to the bathroom and then grabbing food.
Yes, Devin, I knew
Yeah.
what you meant. Yes, I was going to do mine. Yes, I asked Alex if I could. Let's move on to Alex's number 67.
My number 67 is going to be our first mid-video crossover in its proper place where it belongs at 67, and not that garbage 69. It's Parks. Parks is an amazing game. An amazing
Did you
game.
give me crap for where it was?
69 is so garbage.
God.
67, like that's 2 full spots higher.
True Garbo.
It's dropped a lot for you too.
Has
He
it? What
made
was it
us
last
wait
year?
for that.
I don't remember.
I don't remember it was last year. I think it might have been 30 like 2 years ago, but I don't know where it was last year.
30?
Yeah, Parks is a good game. But I was really high into it when I first played it, and I've played it less. It's not that it's not a good game, it's that I have played more good games, and it's less in the front and center of my mind. And I keep talking about this, I haven't played the Nightfall expansion, I need to. They now have a new expansion as well I need to try.
Oh, you haven't played Nightfall?
Yeah, I haven't played it all. Yeah, you're saying Nightfall makes it good? Like better? Better?
Nightfall's great.
Oh, so you think that after I play Nightfall, maybe it'll jump up to like a proper, reasonable spawn off this garbage 69 thing? Anyways, so point is, at Parks...
Man, what's your 67?
Parks
He can stop talking.
is absolutely incredible. It's a great game. Our first mid-video crossover, same thing, whatever. And it's a ridiculously... He said all the things. Poorly, but he said all the things. Meg, what's your 67?
My 67 is a crossover, but it's not from this particular video. My number 67 is Azul.
Ooh.
Was this my last video or the video before that?
I don't remember.
It was one of them.
It was mine,
you don't know what number it was?
Oh.
Azul was 2 videos ago.
85?
At 86.
86.
Okay. So for me, it's number 67. I did bucket it all together. I think I might prefer Queen's Garden out of all of them. It's way
That's the
thinkier,
newest
but I
one,
really
right?
enjoy
Yeah.
it. And I enjoy the tiles more, which as someone who goes for aesthetics, I really like it. But yeah, Azul, I won't spend too much time on it because I think it's a well-known game. We've already talked about it a bit. I love the puzzle of it. I'm someone that has always played with a group that really enjoys building what they're doing. And then when Alex and I became friends, I learned what hate drafting felt like. And I definitely play that game very differently now. I think the way you played that game, I play other games. So it's not that I'm not used to that style of trying to take something away from someone else before they're going to do it. That's exactly how I play Terraforming Mars. When I see people going for certain achievements, I take it before they can. But Azul is a game that I never really played like that. And I do think it's more fun when both of you are on the same page and you both want to be playing that way. But that being said, I enjoy it either way. Either being very cutthroat or just very relaxing and building your own
This
quilts.
is making me think a good topic for us to do at some point is when should you play a game meanly?
Yeah.
Because we've talked about this. We've talked about games like Ticket
And I
to
think
Ride.
it's a personality thing.
Because Ticket to Ride is a game we both agree the goal is to just build your own thing. Of course I could try to block you, but the goal is to build your own thing. But then I play a game like Azul, I'm like, that's the game. The game is the main thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's an interesting conversation about to when, because I agree with your, ultimately I think the same you said.
I
That
could
I
just kind of think of like being friends with you.
Yeah, exactly. I think ultimately the thing you said that I completely agree with is the fact that you should try to play games with people who are trying to play the game the same way as you.
Yes.
That is 100% I would agree with. It's just interesting to me because sometimes I agree with that friendliness aspect and sometimes I'm like, this is a mean game. Like
Yeah.
Parks is a mean game. Anyways, that's 67. What's
Yeah,
your 66?
Azul is great. 66 for me is a game that I think I played it a lot when I really got into it, and I haven't played it enough since then, and I keep wanting to get back to it, and I haven't, is Root.
Ooh.
Root is one that I have had a lot of fun with, but it's one that's not very accessible to teach other people. So for those that don't know, it's a area control.
It's
moving
ish.
around the board.
I love the area control.
It's very
to a degree.
extremely asymmetrical, where everyone has their own faction, and you're playing your own faction's puzzle, and you're trying to meet your own victory conditions, and they're all very different, but you're all working toward different things. And it's one that I played a bit, but it's not one that you can really invite new players to that's very accessible, and where I normally play a lot of games at 2-player, it's also not fun at 2-player. I do have the Automata, the
little
Clockwork,
boards, yeah.
Clockwork
Clockwork Cats.
Root is
yes.
a 4-player game.
Right. So it's one
That's
that I
it.
would love to table more,
Specifically
and I
only-
do enjoy it, but I don't get to play it enough.
I think it was fantastic. For me, it's a game that I said like it took the pandemic for it to be back in my collection because when I had a rotating game group of like 20 people, I just didn't play Root. I'm not going to teach people the game again and again. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I was like, I'm just not going to teach it. Post-pandemic, or not post-pandemic, after the first few months of pandemic, when our game group shifted to having like 4 solid people because we were trying to keep limited social circles, that's when it re-entered my collection. I just found with those people I could continuously table it.
So the same group you played Root with, you guys changed and played Pandemic?
No, that'd be bad. That'd be bad. Anyways,
Guys, I just realized that I have pooped mentally
in terms of
on Root so much.
Oh my
and
gosh.
it's in your top 100. Why would it be in your top 100? That's good. It shouldn't be.
No, I know. I'm just mentally surprised.
And I will say about Root, I haven't played the online version, but I've heard amazing things about it. Maybe that's something that, like, us in the group can
100%.
play.
Root I play digitally. If I'm gonna play Root now, it's on the app.
Yeah.
A
So maybe we
1,000%.
should play.
I've played like 15
I
times
did not
or
like
20
the app
times.
implementation. And I know I'm in the minority. I just didn't like the app implementation. I like the physical board. The app didn't work for me as much.
Alright, I'm going to pull a Devon
Getting food now?
I'm gonna go get a snack.
Okay,
Are
should we
we
continue?
do we have to stop? Because I was
No.
actually going to jokingly say my 66, I was going to name the name and then
Is it
ask
Brute?
you and just move on. And
Is
not
it
even
Brute?
say a thing about the game. Just be
Okay.
like, I got to make up time.
What's your 66?
My 66 is War of the Rings 2nd Edition. Alright, what's
Okay,
your
cool.
66?
War of the Rings 2nd Edition is a game that I definitely do want to play at some point. It's a game actually you're supposed to teach me at some point. I
I'm
think
happy to do so.
Meg and I both want to table it. I think that's
Okay.
at some
I
point
mean,
on our list.
that is a game that I would be happy to let you two play and me teach you while you guys play.
I'm also happy to have that happen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because so the reason for me why War of the Ring is as low as it is not actually the game itself. I think War of the Ring is a phenomenal experience, and I think that a lot of people naturally, if you look at BGG, would rank it drastically higher than I have. But I have two gaming experiences that for me trump it. Number one is Star Wars Rebellion. I would rather play Star Wars Rebellion than Lord of the Rings.
Did you put Dune War for Arrakis on your top 100?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, cool.
I plead the fifth. And the other game is Dune War for Arrakis. Both of those games do what I want from War of the Ring, either better or faster. In Dune War for the Arrakis, it's faster. In Star Wars Rebellion, it's better for me. I prefer sci-fi genres over fantasy genres, so in terms of Star Wars Rebellion over Lord of the Rings, I want Star Wars over the Lord of the Rings. And in Dune War for the Arrakis, it's both.
Is it War for the Arrakis or War for Arrakis?
War for Arrakis.
Okay,
Have
cool.
I been saying War for the Arrakis?
Twice. Said twice.
Yeah, it's totally on you. I haven't said that at all.
Okay, cool.
Anyways, Dune War for the Arrakis plays, and you and I have tabled it on TTS in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. For a two-player asymmetric game like that is in the vein of Star Wars Rebellion or is in the vein of War of the Ring, is remarkable to be able to play a game that, to me, viscerally gives that same feeling in 90 minutes. It is hard for me to argue against it. In 2 hours or less to have that kind of experience. Dune War for Arrakis and Star Wars Rebellion is why this is as low as it is.
What about
even
Twilight
though
Struggle? Never mind. My 66. My
Is it
6.
a crossover?
No. My 66 is Skytear.
What are you eating?
Joshua?
No, we've actually been just talking the whole time because we didn't want to do this. After challah and bread,
Guys, if you're looking for a more professional
I do not want that.
top 100, I recommend checking out the Dice Tower Top 100 if you want something that's a tad more professional in terms of its aspects.
Guys, Alex's
you
wife
just
Rena
stopped
made
saying
these. Can
drop.
you do top down even
I'm
though we're not supposed
They're
to?
so neurotic. I don't have a top down. I don't have it on. It's
Okay.
not on.
Well,
It's not
guys,
on?
The
this
top
is like
down.
a edamame.
Are you showing him at an angle?
Yep.
He's trying to show the top camera. I'm like, what in this I just alternate in between our shots. I'm like
66.
switching to
What's
this.
your 66?
66 is Skytear. Skytear is
Interesting.
Yes.
Yes,
we
okay.
talked
So
about
now do
it.
your horde?
That's gonna
Or
have-
Skytear?
Just Skytear. Skytear Horde would be a prototype, and therefore, in my personal ranking, would not be eligible for this.
We weren't warned that before we started.
I
were we?
no. I said you can do whatever you want for your top 100.
Oh,
I said you
okay.
can do
He
whatever
did.
rules.
He just also
Do
didn't
whatever you
mention
want.
that he
I'll
would
judge you
judge us.
later.
Of course I'm gonna judge you. Of course I'm gonna judge you.
But we didn't know.
I'm not. No, and the judging is a loose terminology. It's judging is like I just wouldn't put a game that doesn't actually exist in my top 100, but I also wouldn't put an RPG in my top 100 board games. And
Talk to us about Skytear.
I'm older now.
you're
Talk
older
to us
now.
about Skytear.
Skytear is from Skytear Games, I think. Actually, is that the name of the company, or they changed it? They rebranded, didn't they? I think they rebranded, or something. I don't know. It's from a company that
Well
makes
said.
Skytear.
Well said.
And it's a MOBA style game, similar to what we've talked about already, which was Guardians of Atlantis 2. But Skytear is. It's so fast and so well done in terms of the characters you have and the way you play these spells. You have to kind of build these spells and build these decks of characters. My biggest complaint around it, it's a MOBA style game, so you have these minions, you're trying to push these lanes, but you also have different goals. So you have different goals you're trying to achieve in the game, so it's not purely about the pushing the lanes. It's all about these multiple facets you're trying to take into account as you slowly take down different heroes. There's a center area where you have this big boss that you can kind of get on your side if you defeated this guardian or whatnot, take control of it. But overall, it works really well and it gives you a ton of character depth, a ton of character development, and just a very, very solid system. My biggest complaint about it is the fact that I think the core box comes in giving you different hero sets in ways that I think are not as accessible to dive into the first time. I think the best way to teach Skytear to new players is saying, here are heroes from the same exact faction, not like heroes of different factions. And I think that they compromise that to give you the variety of factions in the core box, but then you kind of have to mix factions in a way that does take more experience.
Now this is one that you're supposed to show me, Skytear Horde.
Horde, yeah.
Are the factions similar to something like Magic where you mean colors, where you place single monocolor instead of
Basically,
trying to mix
basically,
colors?
yeah. So Skytear Horde also has an aspect of being able to mix colors, but they give you those single color decks. Just the way the decks work is you're kind of using heroes, but then you're building decks around multicolor things. So it's the same idea as Magic. Like it's kind of think of it as combining your mana with your cards. You have that extra degree of balance as you try to figure things out, which is great and gives you more flexibility and more tools.
Alex is talking about mana, not the sickness mono. Just in case you guys heard mono, he's talking about mana.
Mana. Yeah, that's the one.
Do you want to go get either a snack or go pee while we
you doing
finish
a
Not
talking?
a chance on Earth. Not a chance on Earth.
On the snack
That's my
part?
66.
What's your 65?
My
He's
65.
judging us.
Well,
He's the true
judging us.
professional.
While
He's
Meg
double
chews
judged.
and Devon does Devon, I'm going to move on to 65.
Devon
and
does
65
Devon.
is Hadrian's Wall. 65.
Ooh.
Don't understand what's happening here. 65 is Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian's Wall from Garfield Games. And it's arguably, I don't know if it's the best roll and write I have. It depends on the rest of this list, I guess. We have 64 titles to go and find out. But it definitely is
It's
up
not.
there.
It's totally not. It can't be.
You're saying, I don't know, what?
What?
You can have 64 other games that aren't.
That aren't roll and writes? I don't know. We'll find out.
I want to find out.
Hadrian's Wall is one of the best roll and writes I have in my collection,
I think
for
you
sure.
have a flip and right coming up.
It's possible, but
verb and verb?
Hadrian's Wall is the most complex roll and write in my collection, and it does that complexity incredibly well as far as giving you just an experience that is just what.
Nothing.
Okay, cool. But it does that complexity incredibly well, giving you an experience of just trying to build out your engine. It's almost a Euro in its feeling, but the pathways you have towards gathering different things and checking off different boxes, it is such a ridiculously rewarding experience that the only real complaint I have against it is I often find that certain key pathways of the game are almost essential to find yourself flowing down those key pathways of certain things you have to do every game. So, I don't know, 40% of the game is different every single time, but 60% are certain core engines you have to build up and repeat those, and they don't have the same variability. An interesting comparison would be Twilight Inscription, which is actually much lower. I don't even think it's in my top 100. I like Twilight Inscription a lot, but not top 100 a lot. But I think that for me, one of the differences between the two is Twilight Inscription gives you a lot more variability in the sheets you have, but a lot less complexity in how well those things work together the way they do in Hadrian's. And I almost wish there was a game that gave me the best of both worlds. That near infinite variability with the complexity, although that's an additional challenge to be able to offer that intricacy with variability mixed in. But overall, Hadrian's Wall, fantastic game.
Super good. Super good.
And I
You
think
taught
you
it
have
to
not.
me.
No, I would love to.
On the
You
list.
taught it to me.
On the
We'd
list.
have to do like
The
a
next
list
time,
of stuff.
The next time Rena wants to play a game, she loves that game. We should play
Let's
that.
play
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah, let's play tonight after this.
We gotta
After
play Cat in the
this.
Box. I feel like that should be the outro, is Cat in the Box.
65?
65. I was just repeating you.
Yeah.
What did that have to do with anything?
What's your 65?
Oh, my 65? My 65 is...
Or was that World of Wing?
No, that was 66.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I asked you your 66, and then you told me 65. And my 65 is Brass Lancashire.
Dun dun dun.
I really...
Was that, did you do it already? Is that a crossover?
I did Birmingham.
Where was Birmingham for you? No, it doesn't. Welcome to the moon and welcome to our different games.
Oh no, I'm not having
Welcome
this.
to and
I'm not
welcome to
having
the
this.
moon are different
I
games.
would like some
Welcome to and welcome to the moon are different games.
I would like some comments down below as to whether Welcome
This is
to
like the craziest
versus
one.
Welcome to the Moon is a comparable comparison to Brass Lancashire versus Brass Birmingham. I would love to know. I'm happy to be wrong here.
For me,
I
it was
think
77.
I think
not
two
But
too
of
far off.
those.
that's with one play.
That's not far off.
That was with only one play.
Yeah.
Brass Lancashire for me.
I'm telling this video, by the way, for the record, of please skip this one. I'm telling you,
That's
top 100.
That's
please skip
automatically
this
going to
one.
make people watch it more. If you
I know.
really want them to skip it, you should say, "Please watch this."
No, I'm gonna
So good, lots of talks, games we like.
Please
You can't
skip
say it's
this.
the worst out of all of them, because like technically the worst would be 90 to 100, but like this is maybe.
Oh,
you know?
mathematically she's got you.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying
She's
please
got you
skip
made.
this so that I give them the warning, but also they end up watching it more. That's just fair.
So it's
It's a
your
double
fault
double.
if you watched it, because we did
It's a
warn
double
you.
trouble.
Yeah, it's your fault,
Double
I'm sorry.
bubble. Good some.
But a
some
reminder to
chewing
leave
gum.
this video a like.
Brass Lancashire is the sister game to Brass Birmingham, which we've already talked about a little bit. Lancashire is the original or preceding game.
Too?
What?
Never mind. Go ahead.
No.
Should we ask about your list?
Yeah, should we ask about your dumb list?
No.
Do you also have Trills?
Maybe.
No, he doesn't. He absolutely doesn't. Alex has standards, okay? And maybe Meg and I don't abide by them, but whatever. Anyways, Brass Lancashire,
It's okay, I
which
have a
is
prototype.
categorically, fundamentally, diabolically different than Brass
Diametrically.
Birmingham. Yes, diametrically opposed sisters, diametrically opposed foes. Brass Lancashire is a fantastic game from Martin Wallace. It has preceded Brass Birmingham, and it does not have certain mechanics like beer, and it does have certain mechanics like ports and ships. And I really do like it, but I got rid of it because I liked Brass Birmingham enough that I didn't feel the need to have either. But anyway, I get to play...
You feel the need to have both.
You don't even know words.
Did
But
you
I
make
like-
his list? Are you in his head? Did you?
Yeah, back off. Go pee or go get food. Let Meg and I handle things from now on, okay?
Go ahead.
I like Brass Lancashire enough that any way I can play Brass, Bass,
Splash, splash.
I'd rather do that.
You're 65.
And monks and dogs and coffee. My number 65 is a callback to our special friend on the other side of the screen. A Lucky Duck title. Do you want to maybe guess? Give
Lucky
one guess?
Duck title.
That I
I'm
enjoy?
going to guess that you enjoy either Destinies or Flamecraft.
Flamecraft.
I was going to guess Flamecraft.
It's Chronicles of Crime 1400.
Wasn't on my list.
Specifically
Wasn't on my
1400?
list.
Specifically
Have
1400.
you played the other two?
No, I have 2400 and I'm still on the last
If you're going to play
One of
Chronicles of
1400?
Crime, I vote Millennium Trilogy, 1400, 2400, and 1900 over the original.
base game. Yeah, I've never played the base game
It's much
either.
more story or narratively thematic.
So the thing about this game, it's
I
an app-based
approve.
game. You need your phone to play it, and it has a lot of QR codes where you're scanning those to interact with different things. But my favorite part about it is that there are these rendered
The dog?
rooms.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, what? And in the rooms you can find a dog.
Your face is off camera when you lean that
There
way.
is
Sorry.
a dog in 1400. But I love that it's a AR experience where you're using your phone and you're looking around a room and you're looking for clues, and you can be like, oh my gosh, I see blood splatter, or like this was knocked over, and you can find different clues. I absolutely love it. I think out of all of the puzzle type games, obviously this is ranked higher for me than Unlocked. And I really, really enjoy the finesse that Lucky Duck has used with it, that I think it's done really well, and I really, really, really love looking around the rooms.
Nice.
My 64 is one that we sort of talked about. It's The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9, which I think is different enough to justify
You're-
2 entries on
what?
this. Of course
He's
not.
being
Of
nuts.
course
I was
not.
like, wait a second.
He's being stupid to mess with me.
My actual 64 is
Wait,
delightful.
did you do 65?
Hadrian's Wall.
Hadrian's Wall.
Why did you
Continue.
point at her when I
Continue.
said the thing that was right?
Because if I pointed at you, I'd hit you.
Point at me.
64 is 64 to me is Raj of the Ganges. Raj of the Ganges is a Euro game which you're rolling
The base
handfuls.
or the dice game?
The base game, obviously, yeah. Raj of the Ganges is
Not
a game.
obviously.
The dice game
why
is
I
not
asked.
as good.
I
It's-
I
you've
don't
played
know
the-
what
have
you
you played
feel
the base
about
game?
it. I have not played the base game.
Have you played the dice game?
I played the dice game. I played
The
it with
base
you.
game, yeah, that's what I thought. I remember.
So
Yeah,
close.
at
Yeah,
Gamma.
at Gamma, yeah, with
Yeah.
Thinker Themer. Shout out to Thinker
Yeah,
Themer.
I love Thinker
absolutely.
Themer. I actually I'm mentioning them in this video. We have a crossover for Thinker Themer on this video.
There's another channel to go
Wait,
hit the
what
subscribe
crossover
button.
do you have with? What else did we play
They're
at Gamma?
charming.
You don't know. I didn't play it
Oh.
with you.
No. Are you gonna be doing like the
Was it the
game?
Roaring
What's it
Ring?
called? The Clover? So Clover?
No.
So Clover?
The Roaring
No.
Ring?
No, we'll figure
No.
it out. Anyways,
You don't know.
Raj of the Ganges, you're rolling giant handfuls
Sorry,
of
I
colored
just don't want
dice.
to be off camera.
That's okay, you're fine.
Okay.
Raj of the Ganges is rolling handfuls of colored dice in front of you and trying to assign them in different ways in worker placement. Dear Lord, in a worker placement game. The dice game that we talked about that we played does give you some of the feel of Raj of the Ganges, and I really do like it. I think it's a solid implementation. But I played it a few times and eventually got to a point where I was like, I'd rather just play the full game. They feel similarly enough, and the full game is more variable in the experience. But you're assigning them to these areas and you're trying to have your own little separate sideboard, which is a lot of fun to build out your sideboard as far as the
Sorry,
tiles
I
are
am
listed down.
so distracted by Devon. What is it?
Rajas of the Ganges.
I've never played it.
Oh, it's
I have
fun.
a question.
You should
Does the
play it.
base game, does the original game also have those two opposing tracks that go across each other?
Yes, very
Okay,
much so.
cool.
Very
I
much so.
really liked that.
Yeah, you're going for you're
Arc
earning
Nova also has that.
Yeah, you're earning money or fame, and where they cross is where you trigger endgame. And then from there, if people cross in the same round, there's this aspect.
I'll ever Dragon in.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I really like it. I really like it a lot. I think it's a very solid midway Euro game. It's accessible enough to dive into without being overly complicated. It's dice placement. The dice placement is very familiar. Without being there's enough intricacy that the experience is consistently rewarding, without so much intricacy that we're not talking about like a brass level of mental load. It's a easy like Saturday afternoon game where you want something that's not a party game, but you don't want to be heavily pulled into it. I really like it.
What's your 64, Meg?
My number 64 is a game that has already been on this list. I think it was you, Devon, that said it.
Long-term crossover?
Yeah, an old crossover. And again, it only has one play. I think if I play it more, it will go up higher. I think you were the one that said it, Devon. A Feast for Odin.
Oh, yeah. This was me. This was on the last video,
Yep.
I think.
A Feast for Odin.
This was the last video.
I had a wonderful time playing. So shout out to Board Game Dave.
Board Game Dave.
Board Game Dave is the one that taught you guys at WSBG, I believe.
Yes, he taught it to us at WSBG, and he had maybe 2 hours before he had to catch his play, maybe an hour and a half.
He was so sweet.
And he did an entire teach, and then we had a full play. I think it's one of the fastest games I've ever played, and we were one after the other, after the other. We were all standing by the end. It was so much fun, and I think it was one of the best ways to play or to learn a game. With a game
High
that
pressure with the person rushing to the airport. I agree.
well, I think just making quick decisions to learn all the mechanics without having to really put a lot of thought into
And
it.
to me, that's a good game for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to play again like Endless Winter or Lost Winds of Arnak with that kind of pressure.
Yeah. Someday we'll play Endless Winter in under an hour and a half.
I feel attacked.
Sometime. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the worker placement part. There were some rules that I completely misunderstood, so it's a game that I would love to play again, just understanding how the game actually scores
After
now.
this.
After this.
I think it'll be
this.
the next game we play right
After
after
this.
this. After Cat in the Box.
After this. Ooh, I would like to play a trick-taking game.
What's your
Yeah,
64?
I really love. I just love it. A Feast for Odin. I would love to play it more.
It's a great game.
Feast for Odin
Yeah,
for
I
me,
have
I
nothing
feel like
bad to
could
say
be like
about
a
it at
top
all.
25 game for me.
Yeah.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I plan. We should all
really-
dive into it on Board Game Arena as well.
Yeah.
I'd
And
happily
then-
play with you guys in Board Game Arena.
And do you have a copy?
Tonight.
I do have a physical
Do
copy.
you have Feast for Norwegian's expansion?
I do not have the
Are you going to
Norwegians
have it by the
expansion.
time we visit?
I could, depending on how many times we played on BGA
Ooh,
prior.
oh my gosh! And it'll be around Christmas time, and like Odin is almost like Santa.
Honestly, I could probably bring the Feast for Norwegian expansion myself. I'll have
Yeah,
one of
why
these.
don't you get off your butt and bring that
Yeah.
expansion?
Why don't
Anyways.
you buy him one and send it to him?
Yeah, Christmas present.
Be a good boss.
You Jew.
It's his Christmas.
The line crossing.
gift. Christmas
The
gift.
line crossing. I have to decide whether to bleep that or move on.
Oh, bleep it.
You know it's said with so much love.
I do, but do they? But just
We've already had to bleep something else in a prior video.
Yeah, that wasn't said with
That
love.
is extremely mean.
And it was way less bad. It was way more bad than me.
What's your
Anyways, my 64 is our Thinker Themer experience crossover for this exact video, and it is Innovation. I had so much fun playing this game. And Innovation, I do not have like the big box that
Yeah.
Alex says. I have just the small box experience. I haven't even played it since Gamma. And I think that Innovation is 100% one of those games. And we've talked about this in previous videos with social deduction titles, where it is wholly dependent on who you are playing with. Because Innovation, every single strategy or style you could go down has the potential to be broken. It has the potential to do ridiculous things. But it's balanced out by the fact that everyone can do ridiculous things depending on the cards that you play. And I don't even know how to describe it. I
can.
think you've played it more than me. Could you do that for me? Because it is so much fun.
Innovation is a game which you have very, very many
you want me to
cards.
put the
All
timer
the
Can you say it
cards.
as fast as possible?
As fast as possible.
What does it look like I've been doing?
Yeah.
That was a little slow.
Yeah, it was slow.
Will I get
The
interruptions?
People, the people love it.
Because if I get interruptions while trying to go fast, I will stop. This
Go
is-
for it.
I can give
go
you
for
a
it.
solid 30
3,
seconds.
2, 1, go.
Innovation is a game which you're going to have a bunch of cards. All the cards are going down to the table in front of you, and they all have icons on them as well as powers. Depending on who has more icons of that type, you're going to be activating these insane abilities against each other. And then you might be sharing those abilities with people who have more icons than you. And so every single icon combination across piles and piles of cards are constantly placed onto you as you figure out ways to like steal cards and score cards and take cards and place cards. And then constantly you're going to be using these powers. And so it's like, how is it fair that you can do that against me? How am I even supposed to win in this game? And then they draw their own level 7 card, place it down, and they're like, actually, now I got you. And they're continuing that cycle again and again as you slowly try to score these achievements into your score pile. It is very, very, very well done, but it does require you being okay with everything being broken, and also kind of requires you being okay with the fact that at any given point you will not know all the cards and options and powers on the table with your opponents, and so it kind of means you have to lean into it and enjoy the experience.
Oh, I was going to give you a 10-second countdown, but you're
I'm
already done.
Wow.
It's really good. What do you guys think about Innovation?
I've never played it.
And what do you think?
I really like the game. I hate the fact that when I play Innovation, I have to basically say, screw it, I don't know what you can do to me at any given point because I don't want to read your cards the whole entire night. And so I have fun.
That's frustrating.
I do have fun with it.
I do hate when that happens.
I just find that I would like to know what you can do to me. And I just have a choice. I can either read every single card every single time you play, which is constantly happening, or I could be like, I'll have a general idea and you'll screw with me and I won't
And
know.
my perspective on it was that I didn't mind that because, again, I enjoyed who I was playing with. I was getting to sit down and chat with Amy and Maggie. They're fantastic people. If you don't know Thinker Themer, 100% go over and support them. They're like some of my favorite people I've met in the last year. They're awesome.
They're
but
awesome.
it's
I'm a little jealous.
I had such a fun time playing with them. And it was one of those games that, like, Amy and Maggie were both, we adore this game, and we also hate this game because of, like, the absurdity of it. It was, like, not a bad hate. It was like, it was like, we love this game, but we also recognize that it's broken.
That's why I'm with it, yeah.
And I kind of love having one or two of those titles in your collection where you're like, this is a mess, and we're just going to revel in it rather than critique it.
Yeah, I agree.
and
Like, out of
be
the
worried
10
by
videos
it.
we have, this is the one that will be the mess.
Oh, 100%. This is like 4 videos deep. It's been a lot of time.
Yeah.
And the people who have been watching it from the beginning, they're going to, like, give this one a pass. And anybody who's starting here was like, never again.
Well, clearly, because I told them in the title to skip this one.
Never again.
Yeah.
I think that's smart.
Yeah.
Skip this
I
one.
think the stats are going to tell you how strong this video is.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8 people.
It's going to be broken.
9 people.
My 63 is a 2-player card game that every time I play it, I just think it is such...
Watergate?
No. Hanamikoji. Hanamikoji, I don't know if either of you played this
No.
one.
I have not played this one.
Hanamikoji is an I cut you choose card game. It is a lane battler. You have these 7 geishas, I believe, in the row, and you're trying to vie for control over them. And whoever controls 4 of them, or alternatively, depending on whoever controls the 11 power of them, is going to win the round. The problem is the way the game system works is whoever has more cards against a geisha gets it, but practically speaking, it's I cut you choose. So I have a hand of cards and I have to play them, and I have to create these pairings that force you into choosing a set of cards that hopefully the pairing works out well for me because of the knowledge I have of the game state. I have knowledge of the cards in my hand, so I present something to you knowing that one option might be more tempting, but it's actually not the right option because I have knowledge about the cards in my hands. So you're you're giving your opponent access to doing things that will hurt you, but hopefully being able to mess with them in the way they actually are. But then they're doing it back to you as well. They also have to do I cut you choose, and so it's this puzzly system of trying to play cards out that plays in like 20 minutes, and it's just consistently rewarding and tight for 2 players. There's also the Geisha's Road variant of it, which is the same exact system, but gives you a little bit of a rondel puzzle going on the side. I think I prefer Hanamikoji for the pure simplicity of it. Geisha's Road, though, does do some nice things that, for me, I think there's room for both in my collection. And they're one ranking on my spot.
Sounds interesting.
Really?
Yeah, really one ranking.
Again?
Yeah.
Twice in the same
What's
video.
your 63?
My 63 is the overarching collection of Destinies.
Oh.
So I really do like
So
Destinies.
that one you bundle. Cool.
Another lucky duck.
Destinies is a game that has several different expansions. You've got Myth and Folklore, you've got Sea of Sand, you've got the very new Witchwood that just went out on Kickstarter. And I think that actually...
Game Found.
On Game Found.
I'm not biased.
Weird correction there.
On a crowdfunding platform near you.
Yeah, strange. Witchwood is actually my favorite of the ones that I've played in terms of the scenario that I got. I only got one of the 4 or 5 scenarios that are available because that's what the prototype has available. But it did something that the other Destinies experiences or scenarios, at least in the base game that I'm familiar with. I don't have Sea of Sand, I don't have Bound by Fate, I don't have Myth and Folklore. But Destinies is a promise that I think is going to be fully fulfilled for me by the Dark Quarter, which I really enjoyed. But Witchwood did something where it felt like it really grew from what Destinies promised originally, and it seems like Lucky Duck has learned from each iteration and has continued to grow the series. And Destinies is an app-based game, so if that is a hurdle for you, then this is definitely going to be something to kind of like look at with, not skepticism, but just like give
Understand, yeah.
give a discerning eye to it.
I will say I don't like app-driven experiences by default, but Destinies is one that I do enjoy despite that. That said, I still prefer systems like I would rather play Role Playing Adventures over Destinies.
Yeah, and so
Actually, I'm not sure if that's true. I don't know if that's true. I just don't know. I have to check.
Interesting.
It's not on this list. I have to check
Big
where it is.
liar, Adam.
I have to check where it is.
Yeah, so Destinies is a really interesting game because it's got people and different characters for every single scenario that you have, and within each of the characters they have 2 different destiny paths that they can go down, and then depending on the path that you take is going to be determining the way in which you go about and try to approach the map and the conversations and the people around you. And so it does have a really good branching narrative system. It sometimes does feel that it is very, to me, scenario dependent, which is, I think, where Witchwood did such a good job. I felt like Witchwood both expanded the world, expanded the possibilities of what you could do within it. But because of... I put Destinies on here almost primarily not because of the expansions that exist, but because of the fact that they are consistently working to create, improve, and expand upon a community editor.
Yep.
And this is the first time I have seen in the
Very
board
unique.
game industry something that is akin to the PC community's modding like love. When you have a game like Skyrim or anything else on the PC and you're like, oh, this is an amazing game, and the modding community is like, cool, we love this, we're going to make it better on our own. And it's kind of like the developer, the publisher, whoever saying, hey, this is a really good core system, we're curious to see what you all create. And Destinies is the only thing I'm aware of that has decided to...
I believe Manchester Madness does do that.
Do they have a community editor as well?
Yeah, that you can download.
That's nice. That's good to know. And I think it's rare, though, that a company is like, hey, we have this core product.
I'm not even confident if the
Build
Manchester
upon it.
Madness one is...
I do believe so.
It's provided by them?
I believe it's through the app.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so Destinies, I think that's going to be Destiny's biggest thing, is the fact that it's going to have a much longer shelf life, because a lot of games like it, once you play through it, you've played through it. You don't need it anymore.
Yep.
But the fact that it can act as a base of operations for so many different community-made scenarios means that I think Destinies has the potential, like the ceiling, to be so much higher than it even currently is.
Yeah, and I think that fans tend to make things very creative. That I think sometimes publishers are afraid to do something too much, and then fans can find something that is a lot, but also such a creative twist on how to do it. That I think putting games in the hands of the fans is a really good thing when publishers are willing to do it.
Yep. That's my 63, Destinies.
You're 63.
My number 63 is a prototype that I don't even have.
How dare you?
Oh no!
How dare you?
It was a game that I greatly enjoyed by Game Tray Labs. It is
Forsaken. yeah.
I had such a wonderful time with Forsaken. It only ranks solo for me because there is so much playable content. I played the same character twice. I played
Soul
through
Serial
2 different
Quell?
tries.
Were you
I was Garash. I was
Oh.
like the big, huge, four-armed female with tons of scars on her face, and I touched the tendril things.
With like the like predator dress?
Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved her. So it's a game where you are moving around the board, basically trying to fill your own personal quests. And you're... Alex, explain it.
Okay, cool.
I'll kick it to you.
It's a sandbox game
I was gonna
which
try,
you...
but-
It's a sandbox game which you're trying to get to 25 points or whatnot.
Yes.
The way you get points are through a variety of ways, but the most common way is you have a personal storyline, a branching personal storyline you're going through. That branching personal storyline will give everyone their own customized unique goals, their own customized things that they're trying to do as they wander around the map, go from location to location, interact with the various people, try to gather more and more gear, roll piles full of dice, potentially take down bounties. It is sandbox. The goal of the game is to give you a way to move forward and a direction to move forward while letting you actually choose to explore the world however you want to explore the world, while leveling up, while grabbing more gear, while upgrading your tableau, and occasionally while interacting and hurting the other players. It has a ton of storybook information and that you're going to be constantly reading through these adventure storybooks and having the story evolve around you. The planet will evolve around. The events you're going to pull at the end of every round will evolve around you based on the decisions you make throughout the story.
Yeah, I think sandbox
That's about
was the
40
word.
seconds. That was pretty good.
Sandbox was the word I was looking for, and then I kicked it to you, and I was like, okay, I found what I need.
I want one word, Alex. Talk for a while.
What do I need?
You said sandbox immediately.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's all
what's
I
she supposed to say
needed.
at that point? Okay, I got it. I'm done.
Yep. It's very thematic. It's very story driven. I think it's a lot of fun player decisions, but there's also a lot that happens. Like Alex said, you have your personal quest goals that you're going through, your personal feats, and they are very thematic, where it's different things that are happening for you. It all happens on a world where you guys are forsaken. It's the edge of the galaxy, and you're all there as like a last resort. So it's very fun for why you all end up there. And I had a great time with it. One of the things I love, and you might remember, but there's a track that you're moving around where every time you get different like legend points, and every time you hit certain points on that track, you get different things, and then every time you make a full circle, you get not level up points, victory points as well. I had a ton of fun with it, but I really want to play more characters.
Well, like narratively, it was a solar system that was colonized by a corporation to mine the area,
And it was completely
and then they
mined.
got all of the mining out of it, and so all of a sudden they evacuated but left everyone there and the infrastructure in all the cities, and it was like, what anarchy and chaos happens in the vacuum
Yes.
of organized corporate and governmental power, and then you create these narratives of all these people, and so it's kind of like this outlaw world and like realm, and it's really, really cool. I got to play that at Gen Con, and I played it with a subscriber who came with me, and then also Lance from the Dice Tower team, and I was a Soul Serial
We
Quell.
played it with Mark Street.
Yes.
Yes, you guys did.
Yes, we
And
did.
Jeremy
That's right.
Howard?
That's right. No, not Jeremy Howard.
No, not Jeremy Howard. You guys.
Who else
It was
was
the
there
two
with
of you.
us?
I think it was just the two of you and Mark Street.
No, there was another
No.
person.
Are you sure it wasn't just Mike teaching the three of you?
Might
It
have
was,
been.
no, it was like a 5-player game.
Wow, you guys did a 5-player game?
It wasn't Jeremy, I agree. It was... Wow. Sorry, guys, I can't remember who else was there with us.
Was it Mark Dainty?
Nope.
No.
I would have remembered Mark Dainty.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mark Dainty.
Love you, Mark Dainty. He's like one
wish I
person I
could
haven't
pull
met
it
that
up.
I'm like, I would love
And
to
Travis
meet him.
Chance. Travis was there, so maybe that's just who... Like, there
Was-
were other people, but maybe I'm just thinking
two
of
of
Travis.
you-
No, I'm with
And
you. I
then-
think there was another. I'm not certain who it was.
I don't know why I thought it was Jeremy.
Definitely not Jeremy.
I feel like they didn't want
Yeah.
4-player games because they knew how long it was going to
It
take.
was a lot of us. We
Wow.
shared a character.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh,
That was
and,
your-
and so it's a game by Game Trees, and it's their first board game. So, that
Did
being
well.
said, the character boards are also great. Like, I think that the production quality of the game, it is a table eater. It has this dice tower that I think is so fun. So, yeah, I loved it.
No, it's definitely a monstrosity on the table.
Yep.
It's huge.
Yep, but beautifully done.
Still been able to film gameplays. I've been able to film gameplays with it. That's
Yep.
the line.
Yep.
That's the line?
That's to me. The line for me is I can get a gameplay filmed, like, and I can actually have it on the table without compromising on, like, oh, it's just half the components aren't here. That is still manageable because I try to keep things tight on camera.
Yeah.
There are games I have had to sit there and say, I'm going to review this, but you will not see everything.
What do you
here.
do on OnlyFans?
Number your 62.
My 62 is another solo experience, and this is Black Sonata. I really like, I think they're called side room games, and they have both Black Sonata and then McKee. And Black Sonata is actually, for trivia purposes, it is the first game that ever provided a video on my channel. So I did a review or first impressions of Black Sonata, in which you are trying to determine the identity of William Shakespeare's Dark Lady. And it is a hidden movement game.
Yes. That plays solo.
Solo.
Oh, fun.
And so the Dark
With
Lady...
no app.
With no app. The Dark Lady moves around on the map, and you try to move. And whenever you think you're on the same location as the Dark Lady, you essentially pick up that time or location card, and you put a card over it, which has a literal cut-out keyhole on it. And when you put the keyhole on it and have it on the reverse side of the card, if you can see the silhouette of the Dark Lady, she's on the spot with you.
Oh my goodness.
It's
I literally
is-
just got chills hearing that. That is so fun.
It is such a clever little game that really showed me how elegant some solo games have become. And it precipitated me playing Black Sonata, McKee, Space Hulk, Death Angel. Really, after Black Sonata, I was like, I need to get some solo games because some of these are really, really special. And I had a blast with it. I played like 2 or 3 times before I actually realized that I was doing the math of it wrong. And I was like, there's no way that I don't know where she is right now. And I kept missing her. And then I went back to the rule book and I was like, I realized I had misread how she moved and how because essentially when you go there, she has several different traits, and the purpose of the game is not only to identify her, but actually to identify the 3 particular traits that she embodies, of which there's like 6 or 7. And I kept doing the math wrong, and I played 2 or 3 games. I was like, "This is impossible," and then I reread the rules. I was like, "Oh, this is possible," and then I replayed it, and I was like, "This is beatable now."
Did you win the first time you played after rereading the rules?
Yes, I did.
Good.
But then I played a couple times after that, and I think I, won one, lost one. But it is genuinely a really satisfying game, and some of the just design of it is so clever. Like that, like the satisfaction, the like instinctual feel that you have when you see that, oh, they're on the same spot as me. Feels so good.
That's one that I played. I really enjoyed it with the caveat being that I think, first of all, I think it's one of the most brilliantly designed games I've ever seen. I just don't understand how someone could even think of a solo hidden movement game that actually works. It works either way. For me, I did find that it kind of fell into this trap for me that it kind of felt like you're either doing things right, in which case you have it and it's your game, or you don't understand what to do, in which case it's not your game. It felt kind of binary to me. It's like, oh, this is the puzzle. I figured out the puzzle. Okay, I know how to play the game now. And then I kind of moved on from it from there. And there are expansions, there are things to add to it.
I have the Fair Lady expansion. I bought it. I haven't played with it yet, but I bought it.
But yeah, it definitely is a brilliant game. Very brilliant, in terms of just what it does. What's your 62?
I want to play that one now.
It's so cool.
Oh my gosh, I want it.
What's your 62?
My number is 62. So Alex, you hurt me a little bit earlier in this video. There was a game that I did not enjoy, and now I think you're not going to love how low my number 62 is. Although I don't think you'll mind because I don't own it. Zombicide Black Plague.
Oh, I don't mind.
Okay. Well, it should hurt a little bit.
I like zombie. Roleplay adventures. No.
Not like, I hope I don't hurt you, and then you're like, oh, you don't hurt me. You should hurt.
Just a little.
It should be this
Just
low.
A little. Just a little.
Roleplay adventures has been a shared experience, and I think there is a dichotomy of you may have thought it would be higher for me. Yes. And I think it is a testament to how high it is because, like, we talked about this when you were gone, but, like, the fact that it's a story-driven game, it's incredible it's even that high. Versus Zombicide Black Plague, I don't expect you to like it more. For me, I like it more, but the fact that you even like it as much as you do, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I had a great time playing it. I played it for the first time at PAX Unplugged.
Now, when we get to too many bones, we'll have to have a conversation.
Oh.
I wonder if it matches.
Let's see.
Zombicide Black Plague. Oh my gosh. Zombicide
I blagged
Black
this game in a saga.
The Plague. I played it for the first time in 2017 at PAX Unplugged. I was walking by a table where they were waiting for 2 more players, and we just happened to be walking by, and we got stopped and said, hey, do you want to jump in on this game? And we said sure, and ended up playing it. And we ended up winning by the very last dice roll.
Cool.
And it was so much fun. It was one of those games where it was based on a dice roll and us watching it, and then you roll and everyone goes, ah! And we were so excited. So it was so much fun. And then I came and played it here at your house with AP, and it was frustrating. I felt like we were playing well, and I felt like we were playing
I understand
really
what you're
well.
going for. I just like I came here and I played it and it was frustrating.
It was so
I was like,
frustrating.
I like this game without Alex.
That's what I heard.
I felt like we played a really great game and a strong game, and I had one character that, because of her items and because of her powers, she was doing better than anyone else. So the track was progressing much quicker than I think it normally would.
Yeah. There was an imbalance in how fast the game was escalating past the rest of us, but only having one person to keep up.
And we couldn't really stop it, I feel like, because of the items she had and
could
the
have
way
if
it was.
someone was fine killing less zombies.
I need to attack everything.
There we go.
I was left alone, though, up in that corner. I was left alone, and you guys went
Do you
the way.
mean left alone as in you moved up to that corner and didn't leave it?
Anyway.
Good to know. All right, moving on. My 61.
Well, we ended up losing by literally, what ended up happening was you flipped the cards and we got 2 of the abominations in the same card flip.
But, like, isn't that, at the end of the day, a good approximation of, like, a game balance? Like, the game that you won on the last roll. And the game that you lost at the last possible moment. Like,
yeah.
To me, like, the balance of winning or losing a game, if it's that close, is actually a well-balanced game.
I feel like it felt similar to something like
it
this.
is
And it's almost like, what if one character just didn't put it upon themselves to kill so much in one
To
area.
be fair, she does have it as her 61 highest game, so it's not like
and
it's
I
a
do
bad
feel like
game.
it's
It's
similar
62.
to-
I just decided to like. I know that normally you two attack each other. I thought, what if I took it upon myself to
go
like
ahead.
give you guys a break
By all means.
and be the
yeah,
antagonist?
go for it.
But it felt similar to what you say, Devon, about the Trader in Dead of Winter, where
Yeah,
it felt like we
yeah,
were
yeah,
playing,
yeah.
even up to the moment where we would have made it, but it was 2 Abomination cards at once with a fully stacked deck. I think it
I
had
like
been
this
like
point. I
reshuffled
like
or
this
something
point.
like
Wouldn't
that.
that make Dead of Winter like the balance of where a game lies?
No,
Okay, cool.
the amount of times I've won Dead of Winter, I think is actually like I don't actually know if I've won Dead of Winter.
Never mind. Going on. Moving back.
So
Either way, I really enjoyed
moot
it.
point.
I think that the miniatures are fantastic. I think that the battle system was fun. I did love the progression of it. It was just a little bit frustrating that it came down to literally a card draw.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about.
And it wasn't just one. It wasn't like the Abomination could have come out.
Yeah.
It was we drew 2 Abomination cards right after each other.
Yeah, going back
Yeah,
to
yeah.
there are some aspects of games I can't remember which one. There are aspects of games we've talked about tonight that have kind of an understanding but a resentment at the same time, and I understand that about Black Plague. I think Black Plague to me can come down to feeling like it came down to that final lucky aspect. And yes, it is well balanced because it always does feel close, but like sometimes it's like, couldn't it have felt close without you drawing the one card that will screw
Yeah.
us? Like I understand it. It is an aspect of Black Plague that can be frustrating, but yeah.
Yeah, we had figured out so much that it wasn't even a dice roll. We thought we had mapped it out to the point where we felt like that turn we were going to win. And it was just the card flip. So yeah, I enjoyed it. And again, I think the miniatures are amazing. And I
Simon
think
miniatures are ridiculous.
amazing. And very similar to Dead of Winter, I love the feeling of being overwhelmed. I feel like both of those give you that feeling of we are overwhelmed from the beginning and things just keep flooding us and how do you stop it? And it's not usually that you need to kill everything or fight everything or stop everything. You just need to meet that objective and win. And I think that's why for me, I think it will be higher in future years if I get to play it more often. But yeah.
We should
I
like
enjoyed
you and
it.
I should like do a list of games that like
We think should
Alex
be higher
needs
on our
to
list.
teach us because
Mayhaps.
I haven't been taught that game yet. I own it now, but I
Let's
haven't
play it
played
tonight.
after this. What is your 62?
My 62 is another command game with great miniatures and an excellent experience, one that neither of you have played. In fact, most people haven't played, but it's one of my favorite
it a
command
prototype?
games.
Wait,
Not a prototype. You don't know it. Go ahead. No, guess. Go ahead.
No,
Guess.
no.
Go
If that's how you're gonna be, no.
ahead. No.
I don't even want
I'll
to do
give
it.
you 5 guesses.
5
Yes,
guesses.
you're gonna miss it on all
a
5.
Simon game.
Wouldn't it be fun if this is the second time tonight you completely bamboozled me?
A
You're missing out on
Simon
the video.
title
Yes.
with big miniatures.
Yep. That most people have not played, and your head's off camera again. I'll make the camera wider. next
Rivet
time.
Wars.
Nope.
Dogs of War.
Nope. Good choices, by the way, in both.
Do you want us to push a little?
No, it's all
Rivet
good.
War. Dogs of War. Oh goodness, there's one I'm not thinking of.
Look around.
Massive Darkness.
Nope.
Look around. Look around.
Do you still own it?
Could it be
Do you still own
behind
it?
you?
I do still own it.
Simon title.
This is cheating for the record.
We're gonna
No,
have
it's
to
not.
fast
You
forward.
never said I couldn't do this. You never said I couldn't do this. A Simon title.
I still think there's a decent chance you won't get it, but it is cheating.
I'm done trying to help. I was going to try, but
What's it start with? I don't know.
The.
nice.
Screw you.
Nice.
I don't know.
It's right there. Big box. The World of Smog. Right there. The World of Smog. Rise of
Oh,
Moloch.
Rise of Moloch. This has been on your list so many times. How did I not do this? You were literally just talking about this today.
Was I?
With
Oh my
you and
gosh.
Rena.
Makes sense. I would.
Ugh.
The World of Smog, Rise of Moloch is one of the least known command games, but it is highly rated. It's one of those interesting things. It doesn't have a large audience, but if you look at the ratings, it's like an 8.2, 8.3 or something. It's a really well-loved game.
It's like Arrested Development.
It is so good at what it does, and it's basically, it's a one versus many experience, although it can be played one versus one, which is typically how I've played it. Where one player is controlling the various gentlemen, and the one player is controlling the horrific, almost Cthulhu-esque characters. It's very
Gentlemen.
steampunk-oriented in what it's doing. So you have these gentlemen club that have these steampunk weapons that are trying to take down the Moloch in this case, but it's a very Cthulhu-esque vibe in terms of the way you have this rising dark that's trying to be overwhelmed by a bunch of people with a degree of mass force, and it plays across a 6-episode campaign where you have to fight back and forth and get to the final conclusion where, depending on how things went, you are balanced in different ways. There are also ways to add different side journeys or campaigns into it to make it like a 9-episode campaign to integrate all the stretch goals and the various gentlemen and all these things you have, and it's It is a skirmish game that effectively, I don't know if either of you played Star Wars Imperial Assault or even Descent to that matter.
100%.
It is similar in feel to the gameplay of those, but I haven't played Descent. For me, I've played Star Wars Imperial Assault. I vastly prefer Rise of Moloch, at least from what I've played of the two. But it is a little messy in the rules. It's one of Command's lesser polished prototypes. I would love to see it come back to the table at some point in the future, or come back to Kickstarter in some way, shape, or form.
It's a
I think
prototype?
it's no, it's final game.
Like,
Final
so
game.
what's
did
their
say
polished
prototype.
It's lesser polished in the sense that it was. The rules for the final game could have been much better. They have like a whole bunch of errata and redone rules.
I also
and all these
recognize why you said that we were cheating, because it was right there when
right
you were
there.
looking
It's
around.
right
No, we're
there.
like,
I was like,
If it wasn't right there, you would be like, whatever, look as much as you want. But it was literally right behind us.
yeah. It is a wonderful experience, and I think the vibe is excellent, the theme is excellent, the variety
Good
of the
vibes.
missions, good vibes. It's good vibes.
What's your 61?
Are we done with 62s?
We are.
this is our final.
Yeah, we're on our final.
Countdown.
If you made it this long in the video, thank you.
Bunny Kingdom is my number one game.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wasn't expecting that.
Not
a detour.
Not my number one.
What a detour.
61. My 61 is
My
Bunny
number
Kingdom.
one game of all time, Bunny Kingdom.
My 61 is Bunny Kingdom from Yellow Games, and it is such a lovely game of drafting just fun stuff. You're drafting all these cards, and you always want all the cards, and so you're trying to, it's area control to a degree. It's a 10 by 10 grid in which you're trying to place these bunnies down on various areas while trying to gather unique resources, trying to gather castles, and trying to constantly draft and pull the cards you think will work best for you. You have this hand of like 15 cards that's handed to you at the beginning of the round. You try to choose the best ones, and you're constantly moaning and groaning with the fact that you're like, I want this one, I want those, and I want this mountain, and that location is perfect for me. And you're going to take that, and you're trying to figure out the best way to actually build out your own point scoring engine across 4 rounds of play in a way that after round 1 you'll score like 5 points. After round 2 you'll score like 12 points. Round 3 you'll be like, oh my gosh, I got 63 points. And round 4 you'll end the game with like 372 points.
That
It is
can't
an
be
insane. It's every time it's true.
I've played it with
I
you.
know. Every time it's true. It's an insane system that is just delightfully fun to just draft the variety of cards and the diplomas, these scrolls you have that basically give you just like, hey, sorry, score 10 points for this and score 8 points for that and 15 points for this. It's just good drafting in a game that takes around 90 minutes or so to play. Plays best at 3 in my opinion, decently at 4. Best at 3. Best at 3. It's a good game.
How's it at 2?
I think it's not as... It's a game that, for me, it's really a 3-player game. That 2 and 4 are strongly divergent in how good they are. I'll play it, but strongly divergent.
Yeah.
What's your 61?
You like going last. I've noticed that about you.
I think I've done every video.
Have you?
I think so.
I think so. You keep pushing the end, and you're like, oh, what's yours? What's yours? I want to tell you mine.
I'm just more genuinely curious.
I'm just saying, if it's
And then I feel less bad about me taking long.
it's okay. If it's Brass Birmingham, I'm gonna cut the video before it starts.
No worries.
It's gonna be a random
My
cut.
61,
no,
another
you can go,
title
you can go.
from Martin Wallace.
She has to go first. If I'm gonna cut the video, I want to be careful.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I want to be careful.
No, I think it makes sense. Cut the video as soon as she's done talking.
So my number 61 is a game that I also got to show to you, Alex.
Ooh.
It's a game by Kids on Bikes, which is usually an RPG company, but they decided to make their own board game called the Snallygaster Situation.
Ooh!
Now, I
Did
absolutely
they not
love cryptids.
partner with Renegade for
Renegade.
this?
Yes,
Okay,
Renegade
okay, okay.
made it as well. I love cryptids. You can play against Bloody Mary. You can play against the Jersey Devil, against the Snallygaster. So I really love that aspect of it, and it's very much in the theme of something like Stranger Things or an 80s type, RPG, where you are kids, you're running around the board, you're trying to find your friend who is a lost kid that's hiding somewhere, and you're also trying to survive this monster and somehow stop it. It is sometimes hidden movements, sometimes different mechanics. The one that I showed Alex was a hidden movement one, where the game ran the hidden movement on its own, kind of, where the person who plays the lost kid gets to run that, but it's not so much making decisions. The board kind of forces it for you. I very much enjoy it, but it's one that I want to test more, especially with the other modules. I think I loved it more before we played it together. I think I was very charmed by
Alex
it
does
at the
ruin
beginning.
games for me.
A little bit. Well, you just notice a lot of flaws, and I think that sometimes... I think that sometimes I can be charmed by a theme. I think a
Ruin
theme...
talisman, say what?
He's ruined so many games for me.
You notice a lot of flaws. What a cold,
I love how you're like
killer comment.
because yours is like yeah, Alex ruins games. She's like, not always, but sometimes, yeah. And I'm like, what?
I'm joking, and she's like, no, but really.
Well, I think I'm someone who can get really sucked in by theme, and I think we've talked about it before that I love the story. And if I love the story and the theme, I don't care about what things go wrong in the mechanics. And Alex can very much point out, like, but this shouldn't really be working like that, and if this was different, it would be a lot better, and I don't disagree. So it's one that I want to try the other modules. I especially haven't tried the hardest module, which I believe is the Snallygaster. So I do want to play it more, but I've loved every play of it so far. It's a very charming board as well.
In terms of Snallygaster and the other thing you were talking about before that,
Yeah.
can't remember. You were discussing something.
Yeah, sure.
You and I have
I discussed 10 games.
Yeah, sure. No. In the explanation you gave for Snallygasters, you and I have. I don't think Alex does as much. You and I read a lot more graphic novels. I think in total.
Yes.
In totality, not in total. But Harrow County,
Have
My
you read The
Management.
Wicked and the Divine?
I have not read that.
I'm gonna bring that to your house.
I was going to recommend to you, based off of this, in terms of Stranger Things / Snallygasters, is you should read Paper Girls.
Oh my god, I love Paper Girls. I've read it.
Okay, is
Yes.
that kind of same vibe?
Yes, it really
Okay.
is. Especially even artwork wise, it is very reminiscent of that as well.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel validated by
Yeah.
bringing that up.
Paper
Screw
Girls
this
has
guy.
a bit of that time
He
travel
finds
element.
too many faults in stuff.
Yeah, I think
Something.
when you can let the story really
Nose gets in
charm
the
you
way.
and pull you in, you can look away from certain stuff, but Alex can't.
And you're 61.
That's a great suggestion, though.
My 61 is the second actual mid-video crossover. The Crew Quest for Planet 9.
Nice.
Oh!
Nice.
I adore the Crew.
2-in-1
I
video.
do.
How excited were you?
Parks and Crew. Yeah, I was really excited. I
On an island.
adore the Crew. I really love trick-taking games. I grew up playing a lot of like Spades and Hearts and stuff like that. I really, really like it. And I didn't have to play other games to realize that I was wrong eventually. And I really like the genre. And the Crew is super good. I have not played Mission Deep Sea. I played the Crew a lot, both in person and on Board Game Arena, and I really, really enjoy it. I think it's a fantastic title. If you are not someone who has experienced the genre a lot, I think the cooperative place is a good starting point for trick-taking games if you're not familiar with it.
As opposed to having someone who's good at trick-taking games stomp you into the ground because...
I know. I think it's a really, really good place to jump into the genre, and it's also just such a solid title overall. So yeah, I don't have anything more to say. We've already talked about it. I was just happy that we had two same video crossovers.
None of the past 3 videos. The fourth video got 2 of them.
Yep.
Very
And
solid.
I said
61,
this the
Crew.
first time you said it, but shout out to Affordable. If you're a game that's that
It's like
solid and you're
$15, $12
affordable,
or something like that.
I think that's so fantastic.
So good. So good. Yep.
Yeah. And that's our top 70 through 61.
This was a mess.
Oh, it was a mess.
This
Thank
was
you for
such a
watching
mess.
this,
I mean, I
guys.
think it was mostly like Meg and I were trying to keep this on track, and
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
just
You're so
you were
ridiculous
relentless
sometimes.
in pushing us off topic.
Silly.
It was
Silly
like, by the way,
guy.
you keep shifting back. You keep going out of camera, so you just need to stay closer, okay?
Sounds like a plan.
You need to stay closer. Meg,
Yeah.
get closer.
For those who do
Guys,
not know me, I have a
70
lot of
through
anxiety
61.
about like running things well. Like I want like a certain degree of chaos and a certain degree of professionalism, and that needle is like
Pointing towards Meg, she ruins things. She points
Yes.
out a lot of flaws. I've
Yeah.
noticed that.
I hear you.
That's fair.
I hear you. In any
fair.
case, until next time, this has been our top 70 through 61. I hope you've enjoyed the video series so far. Genuinely, I
If
mean
you
this.
started here, dear God,
no.
watch the other ones.
No, I mean this genuinely. Let me know how you feel about the chaos. I'm curious because of the fact that at the end of the day, the chaos is something that
How do you feel about the chaos?
I don't mind it as long as people don't mind it.
I think he was
That's my
nervous
thing.
about it this video.
No, my thing in general is I don't mind the chaos, but like I also want to deliver a good, consistent experience. And like I think some people are charmed by it, but the question is how many people who are like, actually it was too much for me, and that's an interesting balance.
I think it's fair. I think I'm usually too much for people, so me and Meg together means we're almost certainly too much for people. So I know that this video, which was more than most of the other videos, some people are like, God,
Yeah.
he needs to
I'm just
not use them anymore.
I am curious, but either way, I hope you did enjoy this series. I hope you enjoyed.
Am I fired?
I had a great time.
I hope you enjoyed this particular video. We'll be back again for the numbers 60 through 59. We'll see that up shortly. If you missed any of the previous ones, please feel free to check a look at them. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. This is Devon, and this is Meg. And as always, I hope you have a good one.
That's good.